Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Profitable Manufacturer, episode number 13. And I'm Annette Delancey. I'm a co-host, and Jason Snyder is my fellow co-host. And we are delighted to have Elli Giacomazzi, social media marketing manager and expert for product companies. We are very excited to talk about the difference between social media for product manufacturing companies as well as products versus services. There's a big difference. So on no uncertain terms, I'd like to move forward and introduce you to Elli Giacomazzi, who is the owner and social media manager for EGSMM. And she has product and service companies. She actually has my company, Cast Covers, where we make fun and functional products for the orthopedic patient. And she's done a fabulous job for me for a couple of years. So Elli, welcome to the Profitable Manufacturer, episode number 13.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to discuss social media, get into it with you. And like she said, I've been, the social media manager for Cast Covers for the past few years. I really, told her that Cast Covers had to step up their game in the social networks. We really had to get in there, get some exposure out. That's what social media is for, building up your brand, getting exposure, community engagement, lots of other stuff. So yeah, let's get into it.
And I think it's important that we have this topic because there's a lot of manufacturers out there that think, oh, if I build it, they will come. It's not necessarily the case. And so Elli really drilled it into me how important it is to make sure we have a consistent is the key, communication and branding style. And so there's primarily two different types of manufacturing operations. There's the heavy duty industrial, where they manufacture the very large equipment and or the elements that are needed in the smaller light industrial. For example, it could be iron, steel, even textiles. And then there's a light manufacturing, and that's typically considered for apparel, food, toys, cosmetics, pretty much consumer-driven products. And so we're going to focus mostly on the light manufacturing arm of manufacturing. So one of the things that I talked about with Elli and I just mentioned was the brand awareness. Elli, can you talk a little bit about how important it is for manufacturers of products, why brand awareness is so important?
Yeah, definitely. These days, having a strong online presence is so key for companies. Social media managers, we're not there to sell your products. Your product is selling itself, but we're there to raise that brand awareness, get that customer engagement going. It's there for networking, professional opportunities. There's just so many opportunities that social media can bring businesses, whether it's going viral or just, promoting ads. Anything that you can do to get your business out there is extremely important for visibility, really just building that brand identity, honestly, keeping it consistent. And I think that's, one of the biggest keys about social media with any product out there. It's just building that brand up and making sure that your product is seen. And it's not necessarily about, the follower account, but in this day and age, people are going on your Instagram, your Facebook to make sure that you're posting consistently, and they're seeing, are they still up and running? Like what's going on with the business? So I think that's really important. Yeah.
It's a calling card, a digital calling card. That's what I realize. And that people, I think your point about wanting to check you out, in my case, a lot of people want to find out if I'm made in the USA, if my products, which they are, made in the USA. We're getting a lot more of that. So we focus on that as well. Often, in manufacturers, if you manufacture your own product or if you're a manufacturer of other products, there is a difference in how you communicate, and the brand awareness is key. So for example, in Cast Covers case, we're feel better, heal better. So everything's very uplifting.
Yeah, it's fun, it's colorful. That's all a part of your branding. And that's super important with social media, is to have, a graphic designer that is aware of your branding and keeps your brand identity as you move forward, whether that's, if you're more neutral aesthetic, like keep that branding going on your feed, keep it that aesthetic. But yeah, with cast covers, it's fun, it's orange, it's blue, it's green. We're keeping that going. We're keeping it fun. We're keeping it uplifting. And that goes for lifestyle pictures too. When you're doing lifestyle shoots, it's so important to keep that branding because you're going to use that for all your social media.
Let's talk more about photography and how important it is. So in my case, a cast cover for a cast is a cover for a cast is a cover for a cast. And Elli had to really get into my head and say, no, it's not just the product. The product pictures are very important, and I want Elli to talk about that. But lifestyle, there's two different categories of photography that's so important when it comes to a product. Can you elaborate on that, Elli?
Yeah, definitely. It's the relatability that customers are looking for in a product. You can only do so much with just the product pictures. It's just a cast cover on an arm. But when
Or a
you see
leg or a
someone,
boot.
yeah, or a boot or crutches. But when you see someone actually using them in the real world, obviously it's staged lifestyle photography, but it's relatable to a consumer when they're looking. So, and these are lifestyle pictures that can be used across all platforms. It can be used on your website, reduce, reuse, recycle, all those lifestyle pictures, use them everywhere. And so it's important to find a great photographer, and you will get your money's worth out of great photography. The lifestyle pictures, you're going to use them for a while. And I do recommend actually that you take lifestyle pictures at least once to twice a year, because you need new content. And if you're posting more than, twice a week, you're going to be overusing that content a little bit. So yeah, I do recommend at least twice a year get a new.
So when you talk about lifestyle photos, and again, our audience may or may not really understand it, so that's why we want to describe it a little bit more. And you could have like mascara. Let's just talk mascara. Obviously, it shows the lashes longer or blue or whatever, right?
Right. So the difference, if you're selling mascara, the difference between a product photography and lifestyle photography. Product photography is a picture of the mascara wand. Like it's just the wand, it's, the applicator. The lifestyle pictures are the women or the men putting on the mascara. It's the pictures in the mirror, it's video shoots. And I think that's also really important when you're doing a lifestyle shoot. Now with reels, you need to have that videography as well.
Great point. I was just thinking of a client of mine that has a colleague, I should say, colleague of mine that has a framing business, and I can see where he could utilize your services by showing pictures in his shop, his factory. He's got a huge factory, and showing the framing, showing the cutting, the moldings, the shipping, the packaging. All of those would be lifestyle, in addition to showing the frames on the wall in consumers' homes, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for him, I mean, people love the tutorials, the how-tos, so the reels. So if he were to put together, reels of this is exactly how you make a frame from start to finish. This is me packing this person's order, stuff like that. That really, it's building that community engagement, building that relatability for your consumers.
Great. And I read a study recently that shows that most manufacturers utilize the LinkedIn platform the most. How can you can talk a little bit about that, but also talk about to not necessarily pigeonhole yourself on just LinkedIn, but to utilize other channels. Tell us a little bit about the channels and their focuses.
Yeah, I think it really depends what your product is. Like you're saying, I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself just on LinkedIn. If you do have an older demographic or, more business oriented, I'd say, then like more if you're not really shopping off Instagram, I would just say mostly it's an older demographic that is on LinkedIn. So if that's who you're trying to sell to, if you're, that's what LinkedIn is for. If you're trying to get the younger demographic, that's where TikTok comes in. If you're looking more 30s to 40s, Instagram and Facebook. So it really just depends on what you're selling. But I would, I always recommend, spreading it across as many platforms as you can. Pinterest actually is huge for e-commerce brands. And Cast Covers has done very well on Pinterest. I think there's over 1 million views a month on Cast Covers Pinterest, which is just great. But there's just, all the different platforms are equally as important. It just depends on what traffic you want to drive and conversions you want to get. But I mean, posting on LinkedIn, you're going to be posting more articles. It's different than Instagram, where it's more photography focused.
And that I can see how that would be a comprehensive strategy, social media strategy. So maybe you have some white papers, like, like I could do something like in Cast Covers, do something along the lines of anticipated recovery times after XYZ break, whereas the social networks might show pictures of happy people with a cast cover.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So for LinkedIn, it's a great space to build your SEO, link your blogs, just drive traffic to your website through LinkedIn. That's a great way to do it.
Let's talk about driving traffic and the importance of it, because the old way used to be, put your name in the yellow pages. So basically this is the
billboards.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The digital age. And all manufacturers have to get up to speed, and how important that is. Even I think about Caterpillar. I have a colleague of mine who actually does all their training, used to do all of their training programs for Caterpillar. And it would be for the driver to do this and then this and then this, very, very strategic tutorial. Well, obviously consumers are not buying Caterpillars. They're massive machinery, but they have a presence. So people are familiar with them. They're also public companies. So I'm sure they want to have a good consumer awareness, as well as reputation. Reputation management is a very important part of social media. So even if you're an industrial manufacturer, there is value in social media.
Oh, absolutely. It really is just, visibility is one of the biggest things for social media these days. So
how do brands get visible? How does it work? You talked about SEO and hashtags, and tell us a little bit about that.
Hashtags are really important on Instagram. I don't think hashtags don't make or break your social media strategy, but they can definitely help. Some posts that I'll post, hashtags will get hundreds and hundreds of views for an Instagram post, and some will get, 15. So it really just depends on the post. And that's another thing, is you can't just be posting willy-nilly. You have to have a strategy in place. You have to make sure your graphics are good, your pictures are good. People like the aesthetic, look on Instagram. But yeah, I think, for Instagram, it's actually been more coded these days, all for SEO. So if you're posting reels, Instagram's pushing out more, using their text, their audios. And when you're typing in your reel, if you're doing how-to manufacturing, someone's looking that up, they're going to come across your reel, even if it's, not anywhere else. But along with that, you want to put in things in your caption, in your hashtags, in your video, anything that is SEO, which is search engine optimization related, something that can help you be found easily.
Great. I would like to talk about the difference between reels and lives. And this is something, again, Elli has had to reiterate over and over with me. And a great example is recently a friend of mine is an author, is a business owner, and he wrote a book, and it happened to be, it's a New York Times bestseller already. And Steve Chu, the family first entrepreneur, there's a little shout out for him. But I was at a bookstore in Virginia recently and did a post, with me saying, hey, here it is. And within 20 minutes, I get a phone call from Elli saying, what are you doing? Yeah. And I said, well, I'm just letting the people know that the book is here, and I'm here, and I'm supporting Steve. And she said, no, You do not. You do
Yeah.
not do that. I am your social media marketing manager. I am your brand. I have a brand for you. No, no, no. You. And so she explained there's a difference between what you do personally versus business. So Ellie, could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you posted it on the Cast Covers account, which that was the only, issue I had with it, was that like you're trying to keep it the way that I post for my clients. I keep it professional, it's clean. There's a method to the posting that I'm doing. So when people are posting random stuff, I'm like, that's not the method that we're using. Not to say that it's wrong, but I did instruct her that a post like that, could be for your personal account, because that's what she's doing. She's, promoting it personally, not necessarily from Cast Covers, but as Annette Delancey, she's promoting it. So I just had to explain to her that, that's more for a personal account. If we want to story it, stories are much more casual. But yeah, something that's going to stay on the feed, you want that to be, in brand, on brand.
Yeah, on brand all the time. And that's what she's teaching me. So it's not that I couldn't, it's just that I have to be aware of the channel that I'm using. So for example, my
Yes.
personal account would be something. And of course I was of the opinion, oh, but this is cool. This Cast Covers would like to hear this too. And she's no, because I was in, I had no makeup, sweatshirt or whatever,
Yeah.
and just kind of pointed to the book.
Well, and it is important, going off that though, that the owner of the company, that there's a face for the brand. I know for me as a social media manager, I'm the face of my brand. I want people to see that I'm there, that this is who they're going to be working with. So same with Cast Covers. It's important that people know that you're the face of the brand, but just more professionally when you're on social media.
This is why I hired Ellie.
Yeah.
And this is not my strength. Marketing and promotion's my strength, but social media is not. So it's really important that you find somebody that you are cohesive with, that you have, that has a clear understanding. I want to also reiterate how important it is that somebody gets your business, because I have hired people in the past for different functions who didn't get anything to do with broken bones because they've never had broken bones. And so they couldn't communicate effectively in social media, feel better, heal better. They just didn't know about the itchy and the smelly and the frustration and the inconvenience and the worry. And so it was really important that I found somebody that did. And in fact, in just about everything that I do, whether it's my CPA or even my lawyer, understands it. So it's an important part of the decision-making process, who you hire.
Yeah, it's important to be compatible with your social media manager. They've got to understand your business, understand the way you speak, how, it's just everything on brand. So it's important when you're looking for a social media manager that they're going to be able to just kind of like bring awareness to your brand the same way that you would.
Great. Okay, so traffic. So let's talk just a little bit more about SEO, which is search engine optimization. Everything is search engine optimization, even, because
Everything
Google owns YouTube. And so get YouTube channels. That's a whole nother social media channel. And Jason and I have these live casts. His go to his LinkedIn, mine go to my She Makes Products on my YouTube channel. And so that's also another important wheel in your social media marketing and your marketing efforts. But traffic, and you talk about, and social media managers talk about the difference between conversions and traffic and impressions. Can you make sense for our audience on all the differences?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, it's not necessarily about your follower count, whether you have 600, whether you're 10,000. Some businesses buy followers. That's not what you want to do. You want to raise that community engagement, that awareness towards your business. It's important that you have all your links correct, that people know where to go. If you're on LinkedIn, make sure you're linking it correctly back to your website. If you're on Instagram, you can't put a link in a caption. I see this mistake so often. Don't put a link in a caption. put
Why is
them
that?
link because you can't click a link in a caption.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what you want to do on Instagram is you want to say, head to the link in bio, which hopefully you have a link tree, or now you can put a few links in your Instagram bio, and that will drive them to your website or to your YouTube or et cetera, et cetera. What you can do is you can put links on stories now. So if you want, you can repost your post on your story, link it. But yeah, I see so many times people are putting links in their captions and you cannot click it. So you have to make sure that your links are working. But yeah, driving traffic. I mean, that's, driving traffic is to your website or to wherever you want to drive it to. But yeah, the community engagement side, all of that, that's, completely different, like conversions. It really, I mean, you can definitely like link it up to your Shopify. You can see where those conversions are coming from. So it all just depends on how you have it coded into your website or your Shopify to see those conversions. You can always receive the analytics for social media. You can see the past 7 days, 14, 30 days, whatever you want to do, custom, and see what's going on. You can see where your ads, you can see how many people clicked your Instagram post, your story, how many people clicked the website link or your profile. So it all just depends on how you're running your social media. But yeah.
I also know another idea you and I have talked about for She Makes Products is, for example, we'll be posting things and having a link to a lead magnet. And I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll be promoting a lead magnet for She Makes Products. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering what a lead magnet is, it's basically something that allows you to capture somebody's email so you can start communicating with them and letting them know who you are. But it's got to be something of value. And so we're going to be doing something. And so it doesn't have to go to a website, as she said. It can be other things, other places. And in that case, that's just another idea. It's perhaps you're going to have an event.
Landing page.
Perhaps you're going to have an event.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to have a tour of your manufacturing facility. You could generate traffic and have it go to, have a link to an event. So things like that, I think are really important. Okay. Jason, anything you want to ask Elli as we start to close?
Well, maybe one question from myself, being I'm in service business, what's the big differences and what shouldn't we try to mix up if we've got a service factor and a product factor in a business, so we don't.
So
it sounds like
a service factory versus a product factory.
No, so a service business that has two segments of the business, but they're around the same brand. What mistakes should we avoid or not make for mixing those two up? Maybe.
Yeah. So I guess with the service industry or service business, just like She Makes Products, you're offering your services. That for me is so important to have a face. So I've been pushing, again, we need to do reels. We need to get your face back out there. I think the most important thing that you can do, or the biggest mistake that you can make, is not having your face out there. I think it's really important for people to know what service they're getting and just make sure that they have a trustworthy, that they're trusting what service they're getting. So I think that's the biggest part, is just having your face out there. The biggest mistake you can make is not putting your face out there, not talking about it enough, and being consistent on social media. That's really, really important. If you're trying to run social media for your service, you are going to get great results by pushing it out more. So the more you do, the better results. If you're not on social media on everything for a service, you're doing it wrong. But versus a product, like I said earlier, with mom posting that, Annette posting that picture with the book on cast covers, that's different. Keeping it on brand, it's just a little bit of a different strategy that you use for products versus a service.
Okay. Cool.
Did that answer your question, Jason?
Yeah.
And so, and actually it reminded me, so for for quite a while, I was injured. If you recall the very early episodes talking about, and I was not able to be on the live cast for a while. And I couldn't do anything. And so Elli had to just create blog, kind of posts without me, without content, because we didn't have enough. And that's another example of getting enough. So you plan ahead, and just FYI, she was always talking about getting me on camera more often. And I was like, yeah. So it's, again, she's my social media manager. This is not my strength. And so I listen to her and try to follow her advice as quickly as possible.
Right. And She Makes Products hasn't grown that much recently because we haven't really gotten you on camera and, pushed you out there. You're the face of your company, and people are looking to you for advice for theirs.
Right. And whereas cast covers, we have great product photos. We have great lifestyle photos. We're talking about doing new lifestyle photos already. So that continued on even while I was unavailable.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. Yeah. So there's, service versus product. There you go.
Anything else you want to add? Do you want, Elli, that you think the audience would be interested in knowing?
I think I said it earlier, but one of the most important parts about hiring a social media manager is, one, that you're compatible with them. Make sure that they know your branding, your identity. And two, social media managers are not there to sell your product. Your product has to sell itself. We're just there to make your product look amazing, to make your social media networks engaging, on brand, just do everything we can to drive traffic for you.
Great. Anything else? That's a great way to end it. Unless, Jason, do you have something else?
I didn't have anything else. No.
Okay. Well, Elli, I want to thank you very much. I think you brought a great awareness to the importance of social media for manufacturers. And that can, again, be creative about what you do. Have some fun with it. I don't know, I suppose I could end with this story. There's a colleague of mine it's a family business, and they manufacture, the parents are chemists, and they're manufacture vaginal dryness products. That's all. It's the best way I can describe it. And they are not utilizing social media, and they could have so much fun with that product.
Absolutely.
Without being weird. They could have
absolutely.
So much fun.
That's, really fun graphics. Yeah, they could have a very fun social media.
Yes, they could. So I have been talking to them about you, Elli, just FYI.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We do have a question about posting links on Instagram stories.
Okay.
And there is not a requirement for a number of followers to post it anymore. Once you post a story and then you want to slide up and make sure you just hit the link, just like where you put a sticker or where you put the location, it's going to say link, and anyone can do that now.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. All right.
Well, thank you for having me, you guys.
Thank you, Elli. Thanks for bringing us up to speed, up to current standards.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Happy
you.
Monday.
Okay. Talk to you later. Okay. Bye.